Superman admitted that he's never been a fighter, mostly because he never had to be. He thought he could defeat any opponent simply by being more powerful than them, and it always worked, because he was always the most powerful. But lately, he's been facing stronger and stronger opponents, and the stronger they are, the crueler they are. Every battle leaves Metropolis looking like a war zone. He admitted that he couldn't continue like this. He couldn't keep hoping he was the strongest. So he left for the planet Gatoshi. There, he tracked down Vyoska, Apocalypse's greatest trainer before she deserted. She was even feared by Granny Goodness. After agreeing to train him, Vyoska used her powers to scan all of his psychological and physical weaknesses. She discovered that not only was he untrained and overly reliant on his powers, but that he'd also been holding back a great deal. So she stripped him of 90% of his power, leaving him with only 10%. If he failed the trials ahead, he would lose his life. Deep down, one of the real reasons he was there was to discover whether he truly deserved the powers he'd been given and had never had to work for. Superman had always held back in battle, enduring excruciating pain just to give humanity a false sense of humility, never allowing them to see how powerful or destructive he really was. He'd reduced himself to nothing but a shield. Then she ripped the S off his chest. She reminded him that shields only protect those who wield them, and they also redirect harm to those around them. As his training began, he failed every single test. Even with 10% of his power, he couldn't keep up with an old woman who was trained. He couldn't stop a giant who was bigger than him without super strength. He couldn't climb a cliff of jagged rocks because he'd never had to climb anything. He would just fly up. He couldn't stop a barrage of 10,000 fists because he'd never had to block anyone's punches. Even if he did, he'd just rely on super speed. She kicked him away and called him pathetic. He fell to his knees after failing every single test, vowing to try again. She even thought to herself that maybe he was just too old to train. Later that night, as they sat by the fire, Superman told her about his parents, and she realized that Superman had been raised to hold back his entire life, and now it had become second nature.